Welcome back to the Intro to Acoustic Guitar Instructional Series. This is part 3, and here we're going to be doing basic bar chords. Just to mess around with these shapes, we're not going to be using them a ton, but they're just important to know. And there are two main shapes that I'm going to be showing. One is the shape that's based off of an A major chord, and the other is a shape that is based off of an E major chord. These I could fairly confidently say are the two most popular bar chords. They work pretty well together, and I'll show the theory behind all of that as we go on. We'll start with the A major one, so that's the simplest. So you have your A major. If you play it with 3 fingers like this, I'm going to recommend that you don't. It's just you're going to be using your ring finger to bar these 3 a lot throughout your guitar career, and it's just important to get used to it, especially because you got to make sure that you leave this high E open. It's a little tough, but you get used to it. So we have our A major. Let's say we wanted to play a B flat or an A sharp, same note, but it's just 1/2 step up. You can just play these 3, perfectly legitimate. I will sometimes, especially when I'm playing electric guitar, but you want to also have those 2 open notes that you were missing from the A. The A and the E, which in this case now is going to be an A sharp and an F. So to do that, we're going to have to bar. Actually, let's not do it here because this is a little tougher. Let's instead go and find a barred version of an E chord so we can start building different voicings of chords so that you just have more options. In this case, we're going to be all the way up at the 7th fret with our bar. And with this, you actually only have to bar the bottom 5 strings. Remember, when we play an A chord, we're not even playing the low E. You can, but it isn't the root of the chord, and we like having the root of the chord as the lowest note that we're playing. So we're barring the last 5 strings here with our pointer finger. You're usually going to want to have your thumb on the other end of the neck, just, providing some counter pressure, just giving you some leverage, since this is the hardest part of the chord. And it's not going to sound any good, but just so that you try to get them all cleanly. Then we're going to take ring finger, although Jerry Garcia famously always used his pinky finger. But I think the ring finger is just more comfortable in general. Take the ring finger, and we're going to bar the same 3 notes that we would if we were playing an A chord. So this is the D string, the G string, and the B string. And again, trying to keep that E string open. Mine's kind of on the edge, actually. And all together, that's going to sound like this. See, I missed one. And don't worry about how it looks aesthetically. If you notice, mine looks very awkward. My fingers are kind of all over the place, but as long as it gets the job done, it's okay. You can really, I believe with guitar, you can form it however you really want, as long as it works for you, because everybody's hands can be wildly different. So that's an E, exact same as our E down here. And you can move this around and make it whatever you want. We could go up a bunch, actually a step and a half, or 3 half steps, and get a G, as opposed to, we could, what other chords have we been playing? We could get a C if we go down here to the 3rd fret. You also might notice sometimes I'm just barring the whole thing just because I'm so used to the shape, but you can bar the whole thing and just not play the E. That's perfectly reasonable, just whatever you want to do. Same as our C. You can play an F if you don't want to play the ridiculous F down here. So you can do that any position on the fretboard. And just to get add a little Tabasco sauce to it. Remember when we played Psycho Killer, we had that A minor chord. Well, we've been taking the A major shape and moving that all the way up the fretboard. Why don't we do the same with the A minor shape? Another very, very popular option. I'd actually even argue it's easier. So let's go back to our C position. Again, we're at the 7th fret. We got ourselves, or I mean our E position, my mistake. We've got our E major chord. But let's say we want an E minor. So we're gonna keep the bar. And here we're using all our fingers. We're gonna take our middle finger on the 9th fret of the D string, pinky finger of the 9th fret on the G string, and I said middle finger. I think I meant ring finger for the first one. Then now we have our middle finger, 8th fret on the B string. The reason I think this is easier is because you don't need to worry about keeping that high E string clear. It's just much, much easier in that sense. And here we go, we have our E minor. Also known as. You can move those again all the way up and down the fretboard. We played a C major, if we want a C minor, which is much, much more difficult if we're doing it from an open position, by the way. So this just adds a little bit of versatility to your repertoire. This is much more music theory based. You can just move all around the fretboard, and as you get more comfortable, you're gonna find that you just have a lot of options and that they're all pretty accessible too. The other bar shape I want to show is the one based off of our E major chord. Let's switch it up. Let's play an A major using an E major shape. So we're going to be at the 5th fret here. This time we are going to have to bar every single note. So just make sure you're getting that cleanly. And for this, again, we're going to use all of our fingers. We're going on the A string on the 7th fret with our ring finger. Then we're going on the D string, 7th fret with our pinky finger. And then we're going G string, 6th fret with our middle finger. And there we go. That's an A major chord. You play every note. And the reason that I show these two chord shapes together is that you can use both of them at the same position and they'll sound excellent. So here we are, we're at an A major. Now pause the video and see if you can figure out what chord I would be making if I now switch to an A position or an A pattern with my bar chord here. If you said D major chord, you'd be absolutely correct. And try playing the two of them together. So here we have an A chord to a D chord. Very, very pleasant sounding. That's maybe like the most popular chord change in all of recorded music. It's one of the major chord changes that the blues progression is based around. All you really have to do is add one more chord in there. And to give you an idea of what the theory is, in this case, we're in the key of A. A is our root. And when we play a D chord, we are playing the 4th. We can go up to the 5th. We go up 2 frets to our E string and play the 5th, which is kind of what beckons a resolve. So if I was to play a blues, what I would be playing is this. Just the shapes we just used, all major chords, all very, very simple. You can even do that from our little first position here. I threw in a little song. E, D, back to the A. But you can bar it and do it in any key. The one last thing I want to show before we end this lesson here is we did A, the A shape to the A minor shape. Well, how about the E shape to the E minor shape? Again, very possible and actually much, much easier. So let's go back to, I know it's a little confusing, but we played an A chord in the E shape. It's at the 5th fret. Let's just get back to that. And then all you have to do here is just take away your middle finger. You can flip someone off if you want, so it's totally up to you. I like actually to use this as an opportunity to strengthen the bar that I already have, just to make it absolutely certain that I'm not going to be, messing up any of the notes. So I'm just kind of stacking it with my pointer finger, and now you have your minor. And again, you move that all over the fretboard, and just gives you a ton of versatility. And thank you very much. Enjoy.